This is great. Let's start reading this second chapter. That's what it is. It's the second chapter. I'm going to try not to have to start over again. Funny enough, I read it out loud to my sister last night because I wanted to test it out and make sure that I could pronounce everything that I write. So let's just jump in. Here we go. First chapter, people. This is going to be great. Okay. Joy's not all nervous about this. Chapter 2. As Carter re-entered the school, there we go. We're going to start real quick. Just over real quick. There we go. That was their restart. Joy gets nervous, okay, people? It's just how it is. Okay. Chapter 2. As Carter re-entered the school, she dodged around a group of students in the middle of the hallway, blocking traffic. Approaching her locker, she eyed the gangly, Why do I write? Take 3, people. This is great. This is so great. We're going to get this done. It's bespectacled. Why did I write this crap? Okay. Just kidding. It's not crap. It's wonderful. Okay. Take 3. Here we go. Jeez. Okay. Chapter 2. As Carter re-entered the school, she dodged around a group of students in the middle of the hallway, blocking traffic. Approaching her locker, she eyed the gangly, bespectacled boy who stood immobile next to it, his mouth open. He was staring at the polished boy with a self-satisfied smile, standing in the center of the group, Mason Douglas. Studying the gangly boy's face, Carter felt as if she had known him from somewhere. He wore a Thomas Jefferson maroon blazer, marking him as one of the new transfer students, so she doubted they had crossed paths. His brown hair stuck out in places, as if he were a cartoon character, and his uniform looked a size too big. When she noticed the cuffs of his blazer, she paused. They were frayed, just like hers. "Hey," she said to the boy, "you won't make it far here if you go around staring at people. It's weird." "What?" The boy shook his head. I'm not staring." Carter faced her open locker. "Right. My mistake." The boy pushed his black framed glasses up his nose, which Carter noted were fake. As if unable to stop himself, the boy glanced back at Mason. "Okay, I know I was staring, but it's strange." He stared down at his shoes and mumbled, "I never expected to see him in person." Carter didn't think the first son was ever worth seeing in person. "Well, now you have," she said. "I'm guessing you found his all-American boy veneer isn't as shiny as it is in photos." The boy nodded, looking back at Mason. "Yeah, he's not what I expected." Carter snapped her fingers in the boy's face. "The staring thing is weird, remember? Besides, you don't want Mason's attention. In my experience, it usually isn't a pleasant thing." The boy frowned. "You're not a fan of the president's son?" Carter shrugged. "Let's just say I've known Mason for 4 years. I've known you for 4 minutes, and I already like you better." The boy froze. For a second, Carter thought the stunned boy might pass out from disbelief. "Really?" he asked. "Yeah," Carter said. "But that all depends on how the next 4 minutes go." To Carter's surprise, the boy smiled and held out his hand. "I'm Link Evans." If her dislike of Mason made this boy breathe easier, Carter had a feeling they would get along fine. She shook Link's hand. "Carter Owens." When she saw Link twist his head to glance at Mason, she grabbed a stack of textbooks from her locker and pushed them into his arms. "Hold these a sec, okay?" The top book slid sideways, and Link scrambled to keep the load balanced. He read the title of the top book. "You take advanced chemistry too?" "Yeah," Carter said, adding a stack of notebooks to Link's pile so she could get to her history textbook. "It's extremely boring." She choked off her last word, noticing how Link perked up. "So, you like chemistry?" "It makes sense to me. Everything has a way it should be, an order it goes in," he said, his words tumbling out. "There are aspects of that in math, but I feel like it's too restrictive. There's not enough experimentation. Also, I love seeing how combining 2 different elements can produce a vastly different result." He pressed his lips together and shrugged, as if trying to downplay his enthusiasm. "It's kind of like life, you know?" Carter was struck by the thought. and the fact that this boy could do more than stumble over himself. Honestly, never thought about it that way, she said. But if you like the subject, you'll like Mr. Rojas. He does a good job of explaining everything, so that it makes sense, and it's not a completely different language. Taking back her notebooks from Link, Carter dumped them into her locker. So, your school's water main burst, huh? Yeah, we all got the notice this weekend. Mine said I wasn't going back, and had to come here instead. As he spoke, Link surveyed the hallway, his gaze hesitating on Mason. Carter punched his arm, and Link cringed, rubbing the sore spot. Ow! What was that? Carter cocked her head in silent accusation, and Link winced, right, staring. Sorry. And if you learn not to stare, you'll find that Hamilton is just like Thomas Jefferson, she said. There are people you'll like. She mockingly gestured to herself, making Link chuckle. And there are people that, if I were you... She stared at Mason, then focused on Link. I would avoid like the plague. All right, Link said, nodding to her advice. Then are you the only one who doesn't like the first son? As Carter opened her mouth to answer, a new boy in a maroon blazer appeared from the dense throng, stopping beside Link. Link strained at the boy's sudden presence. The boy glanced from Mason to Link. You ready to go? He asked. Yeah, Link said. He gestured from Carter to the newcomer. Carter, this is Donovan. Where Link was a pale, thin, rumpled boy, Donovan was a lean, tan athlete. Link slouched, while Donovan had a careless air, but a stance that said he was prepared for anything. The pair were night and day. To top it off, Link seemed to retreat into himself, as if his friend's presence made him become invisible. The smiling boy from a second ago faded. Something didn't fit. Carter knew she was not going to like Donovan. Donovan said nothing to Link's introduction, but instead gave Carter a brief nod. Somehow he made one gesture, both a greeting and a dismissal. Come on, we should get to class, Donovan said to Link. Link pulled out a crumpled piece of paper from his pocket. We have AP History with Phillips, Donovan said, cutting Link off. That's in the West Wing, Carter jumped in, annoyed with Donovan for not letting Link finish his sentence. For the first time, Donovan gave Carter his full attention. The intensity in his dark blue eyes unnerved her. She had the distinct impression he was memorizing the defining points of her face. He studied her like she studied him. You have AP History too? Link asked, unaware of the silent appraisals. Can you show us where it is? Carter nodded. Sure. Link perked up, his expression as open and eager as Donovan's was closed off. You don't have to, Donovan said coolly. We're fine on our own. Seeing Link deflate, Carter took a step forward, eyes locked on Donovan. She had no intention of leaving Link. Donovan would simply have to give in. I can show you. It's not a big deal, Carter said, with the smile of a stewardess. We wouldn't want to inconvenience you, Donovan said, gently tugging Link backwards. Carter raised her eyebrows. You understand it's not a crime to accept help, don't you? I do. I can help, she said. It's a new school and a new layout. Donovan held her gaze, unyielding. I have it memorized. You know about the 2 staircases on the 2nd floor where only one leads in the right direction? Yes, I know. The bluntness in his tone told Carter to leave them alone. Retreating a step, she held up her hands in surrender. Okay then, she said. Good luck with the closed-off hallway on the 2nd floor and figuring out that detour. She noticed Link's face fell, and he frowned at the floor in disappointment. Link, she said. Link raised his head. I'll see you around. As Link offered a half-hearted wave, Carter spun on her heel, heading toward the West Wing. Behind her, she heard the rhythm of the whispered argument. Halfway down the hall, Link hurried up to her, Donovan settling in beside him. So, you walk by the history classroom? Link asked. Not at all, Carter said. Link paused. It's my destination. Well, then it would be stupid for us not to walk with you, Link said. Carter peered around Link to Donovan with a victorious smile. Yes, it would be stupid. Laughing, Link gestured from his friend to Carter. Donovan, this is Carter. Donovan, do you have a last name or are you just Donovan? Though Donovan's expression didn't change, Carter strongly felt he didn't find her jab funny. Keller, he answered. Like the senator? Yes, like the senator. Carter nodded. Senator Keller didn't have a son. She ignored the misdirection, putting it aside for later contemplation. As she guided them through the school, She watched how the boys' maroon blazers drew surrounding attention, but similar to their contrast in appearances, so were the responses they received from the other students. Donovan, with his confident stride, garnered long, curious looks, while Link barely merited more than a passing glance. Nothing more than Donovan's shadow. For his part, Donovan didn't react to the attention. Beside him, Link spotted the glances given to his friend unfazed, seemingly accustomed to it. "So," she said, looking for another hole to poke at, "am I to pretend that your friendship isn't strange, or are you going to offer a plausible explanation?" Clearing his throat, Link tugged on his backpack straps, as if his burden was too heavy. "It's not that strange. We live in the same building. He keeps people from beating me up." "In turn," Donovan said, "he helps me with homework." The explanation came smooth, rehearsed, and false. Flipping around, Carter faced them as she continued to walk backwards. "Yes," she said, "because anyone freely taking AP History needs help with homework." Link flushed, while Donovan remained unflustered. Carter continued her backward movement, not at all bothered with the students she bumped into, too focused on the two boys before her. Storing away their reactions in the lie, Carter directed them down a crowded hallway lined with polished maple wood lockers and gleaming trophy cases, showing off the prestige of the school's athletic division. By the time they reached their history classroom, Carter hadn't puzzled out the dynamic between the two. Putting it aside, she halted outside the doorway, facing the flow of students. "Aren't we going in?" Link asked. "You can, but I'm going to watch the show." Curious, Link sidled closer to Carter. "What show?" Carter searched the crowd until she spotted a familiar girl and boy. "Jonathan and Macy are going to break up," Carter said. "Wait for it." As Jonathan's gaze followed a passing girl, Macy rounded on him. "I knew it! You're cheating on me!" Macy screamed. The fight dissolved into tears, hysterics, pleas, and angry shouts, before the two teachers broke the couple apart. Carter chuckled as a teacher escorted Macy to the office, her makeup smeared down her face. "How did you know?" Link asked, half grinning. "Easy. I noticed her stiff shoulders, tight lips, the distance between them, his scowl and wandering gaze," she explained, hoisting herself off the lockers. "Besides, it's Monday, and that's what they always do." "Seriously?" "Yeah. I think it's their way of keeping the romance alive, 'cause really, after the first initial attraction, what do they have in common? Other than the fact that neither of them can send a text without an abbreviation or an emoji." As Link started laughing, Carter smiled, something she had done more often that morning than most. When they entered their history classroom, the teacher, in his early 30s with gray eyes and a once broken nose, flicked his gaze to them. He began to lower his eyes when he snapped them back up at the sight of Link and Donovan. Carter frowned at the hint of surprise and confusion that darted across her teacher's narrow face. "Morning, Phillips," she said. Mr. Phillips cleared his expression as he gathered up a stack of papers and gave Carter a curt nod. "Hello, Carter. New students, I see." He waved towards the row of desks. "Find a seat anywhere." The bell rang as Carter slid into an open desk. When she looked back at Mr. Phillips, she found his frown edged between his thick brows, his eyes on Link. Bam! Crash tent! There you go. Second chapter. I hope you liked it. It's different. I know so many of you guys have worried about the changes that are being made to the book, but it's about 20% different and 80% the same. And all the changes, I believe, have enhanced the story, the characters, and the dynamics between everyone. So, yeah, I think you'll like it. So, buy it. It's available on Amazon. Look it up. If you do buy it, I'm asking if you can leave a review on either Goodreads or Amazon. It's just going to help promote the book. And it's also going to tell people who haven't read the book that this is a book worth reading. So, yes. If you want, stick around. I'm going to start a new live stream after this, and we will discuss the changes and what you thought about it. So thank you guys. I'm glad you were a part of this. Yes, let's do this.